Kevin Kernan, well-regarded columnist for the New York Post. We enjoy his work for sure, and he's been on the show with me many, many years, and here he is for a few minutes this morning, a little impromptu with Kevin Kernan, columnist, New York Post. Good morning, Kevin.
Hey, congrats on the new gig.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for being a part of it here this morning. What's your thoughts on this Mets team right now? Obviously, here they go to Chicago, and I know the Cubs are just waiting and ready for a little payback starting tonight.
Yeah, I think they're going to have their hands full. The Pirates are coming on, too, so it's going to be a challenge for them to even make the postseason this year. But having said all that, I think you saw yesterday, and again, I know the Phillies are only a AAA team. They're not even close to a major league team. But what you saw yesterday from DeGrom with his velocity up, his competitor, how competitive he is, if the Mets can somehow survive and get to the postseason in that wild card game, I think they'll do quite well. I think they'll win a wild card, and then anything can happen with this kind of pitching staff. The question is, Rodger, can they get there? I mean, that's the thing, and they have so many. They've had so many injuries. They got holes in the lineup. Cespedes is so key to them. There are some things I like, though. I like the fact they're bringing Fordo back. And I do think Neil Walker, was just a great pickup. He's kind of taken over the role of David Wright in the clubhouse. Not only talking to the media, but really having his pulse on things and being a leader. And we'll see where they go. It's going to be fun.
And Kevin, we had a lot of discussion last week about Jose Reyes, and on the field, he's made a difference so far, hasn't he?
He certainly has. And I've known Jose since he came up as a kid. I made the travels with him to Altoona, to Brooklyn. I was with him in Philly yesterday, and he's really excited about playing the Cubs right now too. And he's giving them something they don't have. They don't have speed at the top of the lineup. He's not as fast as he used to be, but he's still faster than everybody else on that team. And he's making more contact. He's getting some RBIs. He's one of the few players that can do basically make contact and drive in a run. Because they have such free swingers, they're always swinging for home runs, and he's not even close. So I asked him yesterday, I said, "How close are you guys?" He goes, "I still got a ways to go. I'm not, I need more work, but I feel like it's getting there. I feel better. He's certainly been really good at third. He's figured out that angle thing. His arm is still strong, and he's a positive influence. The one thing I don't like about the Mets, to be quite frank, is that there's some of the guys are sourpusses, and they need to lighten it up a little bit, and it's been that way since Matt Harvey this year, and they really need to enjoy this ride a little bit more than they are.
The Mets season right now, 49-42, tied for that second wild card spot. By all accounts, they've had a good year to this point, even if they aren't living up to expectations. Are any failures this team is having, is it because the roster is just deficient and lacking in certain areas, or has it just been about the injuries? Is it that simple?
I think the roster could be upgraded a little bit. I think they've left themselves short. I would have loved the move. I would have loved to see them make, and I think it would have been so key on so many levels if they signed Gurriel. If they really, I'm not the expert on him, the Cuban third baseman signed with the Astros. I haven't seen him play. All I know is that when I talked to Cespedes about him 3 weeks ago, you should have seen Cespedes' eyes light up, and he was actually leafing through some Cuban baseball cards, and he reached in and showed me a picture of Gurriel and said how good he is. He's a 5-tool player. And see, I think globally, and if it were me, I would have signed him, got that deal done. Again, if my scouts think that he's quality, this kind of quality level, that's the key. But certainly a lot of scouts did think that. But if you signed him, that's a win-win, because now Cespedes, they're best friends. You would have had Cespedes and him together. And you had your third base situation cleaned up, and I think that would have been the move to put him overhead. But I think the Mets sometimes think small instead of thinking big, like I think.
We're talking to Kevin Kernan, outstanding columnist, New York Post, with us here on Big Board Sports on 104.5, the Team ESPN Radio. Kevin, Yankees open up a 4-game set tonight against the Orioles. They lose 2 out of 3 to Boston. Is there any question in your mind that they're going to blow this thing up come the trading deadline?
No, they should. Well, there is a question, though, because, Hal Steinbrenner basically doesn't like to do that, and they want to sell tickets. They want to keep They want to continue to sell tickets and try to make the year relevant and try to get that postseason game. I wrote on June 6th they were out of it. Sell, sell, sell. Back then I wrote. And the main thing I used was head-to-head play with the three teams above the division. Last night's win finally made them 7-17 against the Orioles, Red Sox, and Blue Jays. That speaks volumes to me. You look at that pitching staff, you know that's not a staff that's going to carry you deep into the playoffs. It's really that simple. They need to re-energize and reload. It's not a rebuilding situation, but they need to get younger. I've been saying it. You know, you've had me on for years about this, and I've been saying this is coming. This is coming. They're just too old. They haven't figured it out what they need to do to change things. They let Robinson walk away. They let Robinson Cano walk away as well as addition to that closer without getting anything for them way back when they were going to in the free agent years. And you know, it's all coming back to haunt them now because they don't have the draft pick. You know, you talk about the Cubs reloading and doing things, but they finished in last place like 3 years and got the number one draft pick. I mean, anybody could pick out Chris Bryant out of a hat. You know, he's that kind of player. So the Yankees aren't going to get that last place thing, but that's why I would have made these deals, get younger right now, not worry about this season, let it go down. I'm not saying tank, but let it go down and get a decent draft pick next year. Trade Chapman, trade Miller, and certainly trade Beltran and anybody else anybody wants, including if you can get rid of Ellsbury. And then you got some real pieces for the future. So after the 2018 season comes along, you've rebuilt a little bit, and now all of a sudden maybe a Manny Machado or Bryce Harper comes here, and they're a complete difference maker because there's already talent around them. That's where the Yankees need to look. They don't need to look about today's game or tomorrow's game. They need to look at the near future and what they can do to really become a true contender. One last point on the Yankees: they've won one World Series since 2002, the same as the Marlins. So I don't want to hear any more about this Yankee championship stuff.
Kevin Kernan, keep up the great work. We enjoy reading your columns in the New York Post. Thanks for a few minutes here on Big Board Sports, Kevin.
You got it. Take care.